Chapter 10, Nationalism Triumphs in Europe. Discussion number 2, the Unification of Italy. This chapter is all about different parts of Europe starting to coalesce within their nationality groups. The last discussion was about Germany. This one's going to be about Italy. Now, during this time period, the Italians never really called themselves Italians. They were Venetian, they were Milanese, they were from Florence, and all these different regional loyalties. But a guy by the name of Camillo Cavour, who was a count in Sardinia, worked to try to unite the Italian states into one large country so that they would be able to compete against some of the larger powers of Europe. Now, at the end of the Napoleonic Wars, and remember they had the Congress of Vienna, where all of the major players in Europe got together, and they just essentially sliced up a lot of different parts of Europe and gave them to whoever they wanted to. Northern Italy was given to Austria, to the control of the Habsburgs. Remember, they were Catholic in ideas. Southern Italy was given to the French underneath the control of the Bourbon kings. And Central Italy was just a whole bunch of Habsburg rulers, because remember, the Catholic Church is still a major political player during this time period, and that's exactly where the Rome and the Roman Empire was, and that's where the Catholic Pope is, and so they didn't want to have any one major power controlling the church, but they also wanted to try to make sure that the church kind of stayed put. So that's why they surrounded North Italy, Southern Italy, and then in the middle. So Sardinia, which is an island west of Italy, is where Cavour was, and his king. Remember, he's an advisor in the same way that Bismarck was an advisor to the Kaiser. Uh, got an alliance with France and was able to work with France in order to get the Austrians out of what we would call northern Italy. Again, remember the whole idea of Germans coalescing and Germans working together scared the living daylights out of the French. And so anytime that they can knock it to these German speakers is a plus in their system. Also, you want to remember way back, even before this course began, is that there is a large animosity between the people who are going to become the French and the people who were the Germans, going back to Charlemagne and his grandsons and how Europe was split up. So while Cavour is doing all this in northern Italy, Giuseppe Garibaldi is leading a rebellion against the French-controlled southern Italian states, and his group became known as the Red Shirts, probably because they wore red shirts. However, so he was working in southern Italy, and he was essentially establishing himself as getting rid of French control of the Italian states and working his way north. Meanwhile, Cavour, who started in the north, started working his way south. And eventually they met in the middle. And remember the main city that's in the middle? That would be Rome. So Cavour and Garibaldi get together in conquered Rome, and they had essentially two options. One would be is that they could shake hands and be friendly, and the other one would be to shoot them up until someone's dead. Well, they chose option one, which is kind of surprising because here they had their own different ideas of having a united Italy, and they had fought, armies had died, and here they said, we're going to shake hands because we both want a common Italy. And the kingship of Italy was given to Cavour's king, Emmanuel. So he became the new king of the United Italy, and the Catholic Church was replaced as the recognized followed authority in the Italian states. And it's now about the government of Italy and not the Pope essentially bossing people around. This kind of signals the end of the Catholic Church being a political entity that people had to listen to coming through world history. Now, the Catholic Church is still important. They still have a large amount of influence, but this pretty much recognizes the end of them being a political player in the system. A couple of things that you're going to run into as we go through this particular section. The term emigration. Emigration is people leaving a country Immigration is people coming into a country. That would be the IMMIGARTION. Also, you're going to run into anarchists. Anarchists are going to start becoming very popular in European history. We're going to have several of them trying to shoot other people. But anarchists are believe that not that one government should be preferred, but that no government is preferred, and to eliminate all organizational efforts of society through a government idea. So that's what an anarchist is. This concludes discussion number 2, the unification of Italy, as part of Chapter 10, Nationalism Triumphs in Europe.